Right lane, doing this. I don't know why I thought this would be a good idea, and I don't know why I didn't just change my mind after doing this.
Turn right toward North Newcastle Street, Service Road, then turn left onto North Newcastle Street.
I can't. That's illegal. It's closed. No, so you can't turn right there. Reroute me. Sure, we'll see. Maybe. Tell me to turn right again. Okay. So, the Denver airport. Slightly better than the Atlanta airport. The only two airports I've ever been to. I think this one's going to be closed too. Yeah, there's not a... That's a straight drop down. That's not a road. There's not a road there. It's... From what I can tell, there's never been a road here. This is a bridge down to... That's not how that works.
In a quarter mile, continue on to Pena Boulevard.
Lane ends, merge right. Okay, thankfully nobody's here at this point. It was far busier coming in to the airport. I guess what? This is a personal vlog? Yeah. This is while I'm driving from one to the other.
Continue on Pena
on my way.
3/4 of a mile.
Yeah, stay right, and we're gonna get onto something called Jackson Gap Street. Oh, I've been here. Okay. Yeah, we did that. Okay. So it loops you back around. So we go in the first time, and it was not on, which is fine. I actually liked it. It was better. It was slower. I'm not great driving busy highway things like that. I've never really been that comfortable, and I'm not happy about it. So I avoid. Okay, so we're coming right up here. Yep, this is exactly what we did before. I avoid highways when possible. I have my phone automatically default to avoiding highways and avoiding tolls because I don't want to pay money, and what do we do at the end of this? I cannot see what is ahead. It just says to stay in the right lane. I know what happens if you go to the left.
In a quarter mile,
oh, it does actually want us to go left. Okay. I assume that's not the only option for the shuttle parking, to go left.
Use the left lane to take the ramp to Jackson Gap Road, then turn left onto Jackson Gap Road.
Sure. See what happens. Why does it say one way? What? No, we can definitely make a left. It says we can make a left.
At the light, turn left onto Jackson
This
Gap
bus
Road.
is making a left. There's a sign that says one way, but I guess it means going that way. We're definitely making a left right here.
Continue on Jackson Gap Road for half a mile.
Then we just keep going. This is probably why. It's avoiding me getting onto the highway that's right here. Which I don't mind. I appreciate. This is much better. I don't like a lot of lanes, a lot of traffic. So we come in on these surface streets, not the highway. Yeah, that's what these are the shuttles, these buses. And I just continue on past them. We come in on these surface streets, and it eventually brings you back around.
Turn right onto Jackson Gap Street.
Until you get onto that highway at the last possible moment, which is not ideal because it has you. Ooh, that's a big plane coming in. That has you Jackson Gap Street. This is where we're going.
Turn right onto Jackson Gap Street.
Okay. It brings us in. Yeah, look at that big plane coming in. Cool.
Continue on Jackson Gap Street for 1 mile.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of smaller. It was bringing us in by like smaller, like where it was like aviation access. I don't know. It was a much smaller building over there with restricted access for, I don't know, pilots maybe, mechanics. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was definitely not the main thing. But we have to get from there. We go to merge onto the highway, and it's like cut across 3-4 lanes of traffic, You basically get on and then you almost immediately need to be going left and you're on the right-hand side. Not ideal. Did that, then got confused when we were coming up as I was looking ahead, and I've not the directions are saying one thing, she's saying something else, and she's obviously right, but I didn't hear what she was saying, and so I get confused, and I immediately wind up going in the wrong lane and wind up going to parking instead of a drop-off. Now the nice thing about it, as far as I could tell, it didn't make me pay because I drove it. I took the ticket, I went into the parking area, and then just went around and immediately drove, didn't stop for anything, and then just dropped off. And when I went out the thing, it had the option to pay with a card, I assumed, because there was the tap for paying with a credit card. I had my credit card ready, and I scanned it. It scanned my license plate, and then it gave me the ticket and just said continue. And I was like, I figured I just wasted $7 accidentally going into the parking garage instead of
turn right onto East 64th Avenue.
Continuing along into the drop-off. But so we go through on the road that I just left on, and instead of where I just turned left, made a U-turn to get back onto that airport road, that highway, and able to go around the second time and do it correctly, and dropped off.
Take the next right onto East
I
64th Avenue.
hate driving to the airport. The Atlanta airport was worse, I will say. The only time I think I did it twice. Drop off on a pickup. Both times equally bad.
Continue on East 64th Avenue for 4 miles.
I think this may have been the road we came in on. I think it has brought me back around to the side that we came in on to avoid the highways. Okay. Well, it's going to take us 22 minutes to get to the park. Sun's risen, but it is a cloudy day. Not the most ideal, but is what it is. We'll just do it anyway. So anyway, now I know how to do that. Might do highway when we pick up next week, because I've seen what it's like. It's not as bad. I don't like the highway, so I might just leave early and do surface roads again and then know exactly where to go. It depends on the time. I forget what time the pickup is when the flight comes in, but yeah. I'll have to find out and then keep an eye on when it comes in. I haven't done. Look, when we did this before, she's now gone out of state for college, very specific college, for a few years now. This is year number 4. To get over because the road is going down to 1 lane. And she did 1 flight, and everything else was driving. And the one that was a flight. That one, we were still in Wyoming at the Casper Airport, and that is a tiny little thing, a very small airport, much easier to navigate, much easier to just go in like a parking lot for, a grocery store sized. Very low key, very cool. That was a nice airport. This I get panicked, and it gets a lot of stress and not ideal having to drive with lots and lots of cars and everybody trying to get to one place and the whole thing. At least it was, I feel like this one, I'm trying to remember the last time I did an airport thing at a big airport in Atlanta was many, you're talking more than 10 years ago. 12, 13 years ago maybe? I don't know the exact timeline. And I honestly 100% don't remember if I did both drop-off and pickup or if I just did one of them. I know I did the pickup. I don't remember if I did the drop-off. I may have. And I feel like I probably did something very similar, or I wound up going the wrong way, not knowing where I was going. I don't think I had to pay for it. I definitely did the wrong thing and parked on the pickup and paid a bunch of money for the parking. Airports are ridiculous. Oh, man. We'll look into that shuttle option. It seems to be a lot easier. I don't know how much that costs. Anyway, that wasn't too bad. At least the drop-off wasn't too bad. It's just basically a long row of access points and plenty of lanes for people to just kind of pull up, drop off wherever. There's just cars all over the place, like multi-stacked, waiting to do things, but I was able to go further down and just kind of scoot in and go, okay, I'm here, and then set this up right quick while, I hope I'm recording. If I'm not, then I'm talking for now. Okay, I am recording. Okay. So anyway, that's airports. I don't really care for it. I've never flown. I've simply done the car part of it. Not fun. Not ideal. But is what it is. Whew. All right. Next week will be more of the same. Next week it may be easier to come down, the same kind of thing. I think it's later in the day. I think it's like 9. So in theory, I could get up to my usual, 5, whatever. Get out, do a tiny bit of wildlife looking around at the state park, maybe. I mean, it's really not that far. It was like 18 minutes now, so a 20-30 minute drive from the airport. I mean, I know there's a lot of airplanes that go over from the time we've been there before. So I might do that, or I might just take a break and not do that. But if I'm already kind of down here in this area, especially back here where there's lots of housing and roads that I could just park on and play on the, I almost said the Game Boy. I haven't played on a Game Boy in a while, but play on something like that until it actually lands, and then go from there so that I'm not sitting waiting anywhere or paying for parking. That might be the easiest way to do it. I will have to find out. I think it is a later flight. I think it's a 9 o'clock pickup. I will have to look. But that's next week. We have the whole week to figure that out and stress about it and worry about it. We'll figure it out. It'll be fine. That was done. She got there safely. It's what I needed to do. We're good. That's done. I can't imagine living out here next to all this stuff. There's a lot of houses in this area. We were talking about as we were coming in, condos for sale and townhouses. It's another word. I think when I went out the other day, we're still on vacation a little bit, but yeah, I was about to go into wildlife related things. We'll stay off of that. This isn't related. Specifically, this is a separate thing. It's all one mind, all jumbled up in there. Anyway, so that's an airport thing. I know that is common for some people to just do pickups and drop-offs at the airport. It's not a problem, but that has always been, would avoid, when I learned to drive, I was never comfortable driving in busy areas because there's always so much hustle and bustle and people trying to get to where they are, and then you get things like one-lane roads and closing and not sure where to go and just getting around. I've just never been comfortable in that. I am much more comfortable in a lower key environment. It gets high stress very quickly, and you wind up doing loops around and adding an extra 10 or 15 minutes to the whole thing because you made one mistake. It all comes down to one turn, and missing that one turn adds a whole lot.
10 miles.
And it's a much higher stress situation than just out driving for other reasons. So I've never been comfortable with it. I would avoid. Grew up Metro Atlanta, basically, right? Smaller suburbs, things like that, not quite as busy, but it would get busy, and I was never super comfortable that we had a 2-lane highway, or 4, I guess, technically, because when you count it up, it does all sides. Well, you would drive there, and I always, cars on either side of me. One side is okay. I'm fine on this road right here, now that we're on here. There's a lane next to me, and then a divider, a median, then more lanes over there. That's fine. One car next to me is good. I've never, ever, ever been comfortable with cars on both sides of me driving highways. I've done it. I've done it a lot. Never cared for it. Much rather would go live in a shack in the middle of nowhere in a cabin in the woods or something and not deal with any of this. On dirt roads, I'm far more comfortable. Actually, no. There's a certain amount of comfort. The perfect road has not too many cars on it, not too many choices for making, or not too many areas where you can mess up and have to add a whole bunch of time onto your drive going a different direction and getting back to there. But not to the point where you could get stuck like on a dirt road or mud or snow or something like that. There's a perfect road that exists out there. Anyway. Yeah, I avoided downtown areas whenever possible. Driving downtown, I've done it. I've been in stressful situations of trying to figure out new cities driving downtown in a way that existed before, maps were hard printed and you follow directions. God, what a nightmare. Anyway, what else has been going on? We're approaching kind of the tail end of the vacation almost. It's Saturday. That was a very large truck with it's a pickup truck, or not a pickup, a tractor trailer, the cab to a tractor trailer with a guy stopped there. They're at a light, and he'd gotten out of his truck and walked around and took his license plates off of the front of the truck. What? Why? That's strange. Because He was about to head to the airport, and he didn't want his license on the front. Oh my! I wonder why. That's strange. It wasn't like he was swapping. He was like, "Oh, let me put on the different plates." That's illegal, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, yeah. So we're on the tail end of the vacation almost. It's Saturday. I got Sunday. I got plans for tomorrow. Chill, mostly relaxing, at home day. Don't think I want to do some editing. Definitely I'm going to play some Elden Ring. We got a couple new video games that I've been playing recently, especially over the course of this vacation. The Elder Scrolls Online did a release. That was a lot of fun. I'm still playing it, but I have completed, as of yesterday evening, the main quest for the new area and the old area, the way that they released it. It was okay. I like Elder Scrolls a lot. I've talked about it in the past. I really enjoy that stuff. Someone coming in behind me because the lane ends. So I've been playing that. That released on the 18th. So that was just before. I was playing it leading up to the vacation. And then I knew I'd be playing it over vacation. And I did. They had a bunch of new stuff that I thought was cool. New quests. There's a whole new area to explore. I haven't done that much of it. I basically focused on the main quest. They introduced a whole new, basically, skill line the way that it goes through, which introduces some new elements to the game where you can unlock different skills. And then it's like, here's your base skill. And then depending on what items you get. I haven't done it, so I'm just kind of going off of what it was teaching me of like, now you can build this skill out of it. Like you combine these, it's almost like their rune system. They have, so say you have a weapon, and then you've got slots to go on that weapon. You can put you can slot the weapon with a rune that you create using like the base and a modifier. You create something, and you create an enchantment out of that to go onto your weapon. So but it's for a skill that you can use. I thought at first, based on what I'd read online, that it was just giving you access to other classes' skills. It's not. I thought it was that when I first very quickly just went, oh, what's this new thing I haven't heard about? I know there's a new expansion, but I didn't know anything about this scribing system. And I briefly looked over it and went, cool. I guess this kind of opens up, which I appreciate the way that they do that, make things accessible. Like a lot of skills are the same between characters, and then you just have like class specific ones. But it's not that. It's just unlocking different skills that are more powerful in some ways, and that's cool. So the downside to that is that there's a lot of grinding to do to find these little, RNG, the random hope you find it kind of situation of the items that you use to create these skills. So I've got to find a bunch of stuff like that in order to get the skills that I will need. I usually follow a build online that someone else has figured out how to do because I just like playing the game. But that was fun. And then there was a quest line that I did. The main quest is always a good time. I really enjoy doing that stuff. And it was a follow-up. They started branching out into multi-year stories. So like this one started, was it last year? I think so. I think it was a 2-year thing where they started it at one point and it went along for, they put out the main quest and then the next update kind of resolves it. So you get 2 areas of exploration and this lane ends. Cool. So I will need to get over after this car. And we go down to the 1 lane. Cool. That's why people were working on getting past and causing a panic there. Not a panic, but one guy was getting around so he didn't get stuck behind me, which is fair. I drive the speed limit, which is slow to most people. Anyway, so that's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed playing Elder Scrolls, leveled up a bunch, getting through everything there. I've been having a good time. I finished up the main quest yesterday, like I said, and I'm going to be working on all the side stuff now and finish unlocking that before I go, okay, time for a break, because I've been playing it now a lot over the last 2 weeks, I guess, because I started up before. Actually, it's been like every weekend for a month in preparation, because I knew that I'd be getting back into it and I didn't want to be rusty. So that's really cool. The other thing that came out that I've been playing is Elden Ring. The last few weeks I've been playing Elden Ring a fair amount because that released as well. It was kind of a double whammy with things releasing back to back within the same week, like the 18th and the 21st, like evening of the 21st, I think is when I downloaded it, because I worked that day anyway. Excuse me. Their new update is out, and I have yet to touch anything. So today's the 29th, I think. And it came out the 21st. It's been 8 days. I've been playing it just about every day, and I have yet to touch anything new. But I wasn't prepared. I didn't think... I was preparing for Elder Scrolls. I was not preparing for Elden Ring. I didn't think about it. But, yeah, my character... You have to get to a certain point in order to have access to the new stuff. And what I have is a couple characters that I started here or there, and then 2 characters that are on to New Game Plus, and then my original character from all the way back when I played all the way through that's on like New Game Plus 4. And I am not playing through DLC on anything above the new game. It's already so difficult. I do not need to make it any more difficult. And the way it ramps up, no, absolutely not. So I knew I'd be taking a character, but I didn't want to start fresh. So I picked one that I started a while back and played a good 30 hours of, I think, when I picked it up and started it. And so over the last week, I believe when I finished up yesterday, I saw the save file was somewhere in the 60 hours. So over the last week, I've done about 30 hours of moving through the areas, killing bosses, grinding a lot to try to get me up to where my friend is at. Because he had a character from his first playthrough that he never finished the game with. And so to refresh, it's actually working out really well, is that I'm moving through. So like he would come play with my stuff on my level and be scaled down to that because I was at a lower level anyway with my character. And get a refresher there. Then we could take on the stuff he needed to. We kind of go back and forth with that. We're now caught up together and close in level, not exactly the same, but we're there now, and we are making our way to the DLC. We will, if we can beat the boss, we can start the DLC today, depending on how much he can play. He said he had plans. I'll be playing after I go do some wildlife stuff for a few hours. I'll play Elden Ring, and I'll play Elder Scrolls, and I'll do both of those things today. And then tomorrow will be lots more Elden Ring, because he said he had more time tomorrow. So we'll be playing Elden Ring tomorrow for a fair amount of it after I get all my stuff done in the morning that I need to do. I got to do a grocery pickup on my own. That's not that bad at all. That's nothing. Usually I don't have to do that. Usually it's a 2-person operation. Taking all the groceries up, but I'm only getting groceries for me, so it will be less as well. And we have made it easier to carry groceries by getting some collapsible crates. That's a nice thing. Anyway, video games. Yeah, Elden Ring is a lot of fun. I'm having a good time. Still, I debate about. I pretty much play all the way through the games with like one main. I use one type of weapon, usually a katana, sometimes 2 if I can. Unless I need a shield. Some games are difficult enough that I'm like, I have to have a shield for this. But I've played through all the Dark Souls games. I've done everything there, which is nice. Oh, TV. We can talk about that real quick. First of all, House of the Dragon's back on. That's excellent. I'm ready to rewatch Game of Thrones. I haven't rewatched it since the last season aired. Which I liked. If you don't like it, that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, I guess. But I enjoyed it all the way through. Thought it was a great show. I just haven't had the time to go back and rewatch everything. And I do plan on doing that. Couldn't remember anything about House of the Dragon. What is it, 2 years ago? And I did not rewatch because it sprung up on me. I didn't realize when it was releasing. And it was just like, oh, hey, it's on TV now. Like I heard on a Monday from someone who was like, oh, did you watch it last night? Yes. Absolutely not. I didn't even know it was airing. Had zero idea. That's what happens when you move off of. Now that the last place that I was getting advertisements was on Reddit, and then I used a third-party Reddit Android app to avoid seeing advertisements. because they got really bad and I got tired of it. And then I moved off Reddit entirely when they killed off all the third-party apps. I don't touch it at all. I haven't touched it in over a year. That was the last place. It was that and then YouTube before that where I would still see ads. And now I pay for YouTube Premium and support those creators and not watch ads. And I don't use Reddit at all. And I don't see ads anymore. At all. Zero. And so I don't have to worry about it. And because of that, I don't see things when they're about to release. But that's a good enough trade-off because I'll hear about it anyway. But anyway, House of the Dragon is really good. Didn't remember anything about it. We're like 2 episodes in it. I think tomorrow is episode 3. Really enjoying that. That's a good time. I'll watch that on Monday. Oh, I have a movie to watch today. Oh, rabbit. No, it survived. Whew, it turned back. Yeah. House of the Dragon. The other thing that's happening, The Acolyte. Oh, Star Wars is so good. Oh, wow. Yes, Star Wars. Yes, yes, yes.
Turn left onto Piccadilly Road.
It's been fantastic. They've done some great things recently. Everything, the more modern Star Wars has really kicked it up a notch. And it's just been so good. And The Acolyte is no different. I hadn't heard about it. I didn't know it was coming out. I knew nothing about it. It was another one where it was just airing already. And I went, okay, great. I'll start watching that. And episode 5 came out this week. Ooh. I'm not going to say anything about it because it's very recent, even though this will take weeks to come out. By then, I imagine the show will be over. I don't actually know how many episodes it is. Probably 8, unless it's just a one-time. I know that they typically do a thing where it's like 6. Oh, get me to the. Oh, all right. I hope we can figure it out from here. It was just like, you're here, but I'm not. Yeah, I think I just go in. Okay, I'll have to look for this thing to turn. It was just on the road. It goes, you're here. I didn't hit the entrance. I just hit Bar Lake on the map. Dang it. But it's there, and there will be a road. I just don't know which one. This one says dead end, so it's not this one. There's an entrance. Yeah, there's a mailbox there. There's a sign. I'll follow the signs. I'll look for them when we come up. Anyway, so The Acolyte is amazing. Really, 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 really good. Having a great time with that. I am current on all Star Wars ever. I spent the last few years, I think I started it in 2022, June, I believe. Look, I'll have to look at my, oh, look at that Kestrel. Man, there's like no light out here. This is going to be kind of poor to take pictures of birds, unfortunately. Yeah, real cloudy, but I don't think there's rain. But we're still going to at least go walk for a little bit. It's about 7 a.m., so it's definitely later in the day. But yeah, we'll go walk. Anyway, I spent the last few years, I kind of picked a day of the week where it would fluctuate depending on the schedule, to sit down and watch all of Star Wars. Because there was a fair amount that I'd missed. I saw all the main stuff, and then Disney started up, and I went, you know what? I want to watch everything. And when I mean everything, I do mean as much as I could get. The only things that I did not see were a lot of the geared towards really little kids. Some of that stuff and all the Lego stuff. I never watched that. But besides that, everything else I have now seen. Like, I just finished up, I was catching up. I just finished up the Bad Batch Season 3. That was its last season. That happened. That was great. And The Acolyte is airing now. That's the last 2 things that will have come out. I've seen everything. I really like Star Wars. Overall, some of that stuff was really good. I didn't expect... Things I missed were like Bad Batch and Clone Wars and shows like that. I didn't realize Bad Batch was still airing. And that one was more recent. That was just a couple months ago, I think. And yeah, so I've gotten through all of that. I watched Rebels, and basically I missed a lot of the TV shows. I'd seen all the movies at least once, but it had been a long time since I'd seen them. Really, really, really good. Overall, I like Star Wars a lot. I even thought the Christmas special was something, like I watched that. I watched the Ewoks cartoon and the Droids cartoon. Those were something. They weren't bad for the time. I am very much able to watch it through this is interesting for the time period that it came out. Situation. I think I turned here to get to the parking. Maybe not. I actually don't remember. I think I should have stayed straight there. Yeah, I think I need to turn around. This is definitely not where I was supposed to be. Whoops, this is the boat inspection station. But I bet I could just turn around here. Oh, it's a one-way. Well. I bet I can go past this guy who's waiting. There's a lot of cars parked here, though. I guess there's a fair amount of boats on the water. Okay, all right. We'll just turn around and go back because I made a mistake. I didn't realize you could drive over. Nope. Boat launching access. Okay, so you drive over there to launch into the lake. I see. Okay. Yeah, I should have stayed straight at that one. That's fine. That's fine. It's not like we're missing on some excellent prime sunlight to be out here. Well, the sun might peek out through a little bit. There's definitely some gaps in the clouds. We may get a little bit, and then again, we may just have a nice time out looking and listening and watching for birds, more so than we will get nice strong sunlight taking pictures of birds. And we'll have a lot of grainy photos. That's fine. The other day came out really grainy as well, because I went to a forest and there wasn't a whole lot of sunlight until you found a spot where the sun was kind of peeking through. Happens, is what it is. So yeah, I think that's going to be everything. Haven't done a personal vlog in quite a while, but I have caught up on, we've now talked about what video games I've been playing, what TV shows I've been watching. Oh, I mentioned I had a movie to watch. It has finally come to streaming services. I know it released in theaters like 6 months ago, and I was very excited because another thing that I started watching, that was like 4 years ago, and I wrapped up everything to current, was all the Studio Ghibli movies. Those are fantastic works of art. Really, really good. Never saw them growing up. Didn't do a whole lot of animated stuff, or anime in general, but I have now seen everything that they've produced, and I'm very excited for this one. It is finally, like I said, come to streaming services, and so I'll be watching that this weekend. That should be a good time. That became a ritual. I started that when HBO launched their service. Now everybody has one. But when they launched one back when it was called something else, was it HBO Max that launched? It may have been. I don't remember entirely. But yeah, that launched in 2020, I think, summer of 2020. And I went, okay, I'm going to take the time now and I'm going to watch all these movies. And I would watch one a week every Sunday, and that dropped off because there's not nearly that many. So I did that for a while, and then we moved, and I continued it for somewhat, and then I dropped off on it, and then I picked it back up, and it would just kind of be like one a month after that point until I watched all of them. And that happened before we moved, but it was while we were in Colorado, so maybe last year I watched the last two that I hadn't seen, and then I was caught up to everything, and now there's just this one that just released, and I'm really excited to watch it. Hey, thanks for coming along and joining us and everything today. I'm going to go look for wildlife and take pictures of birds, maybe. See you then. Later. Bye.